This week we're adding 10 gorgeous new rainbow fish to the 400-gallon community aquarium. And it's time to see if they'll fit in nicely or if they'll cause chaos for everybody. When I walked into the fish store, I wasn't even planning on buying them, but once I saw how good they looked in person, I just knew I had to have them. And here they are, 5 Goyder River Rainbowfish and 5 Albino Millennium Rainbowfish. Even in the bag stressed out, they still look good. And they'll only look better from here, especially once they settle in. Right now, they're floating in the tank to temperature acclimate to my aquarium, but I was ready to see how much they would love their new home. I gotta admit I was nervous about how they would react to the other inhabitants in the tank. Mainly the Amano shrimp, the crawfish, and the glow light danios, which I know many fish would love to make a snack out of. When I first added in the crawfish, there were a couple of tense moments as the other fish, like the empire gudgeons, tried to figure out if their new housemates would be friends or food. And I don't need a repeat of that. There are always a few risks when you add a new fish to aquarium, especially when you impulse buy and don't do as much research as you probably should have, but sometimes it's just hard to resist, no matter how many times somebody tells you not to. Now let's get these guys into their new home. Just like with most fish, there was an adjustment period before they felt comfortable in the tank. And the others definitely came to check them out. My biggest fish, the black rainbow shark, looks like she approves. And how could she not? Look how nice these guys looked, and they've only been in the aquarium for a couple moments. These Goyder River Rainbowfish are on the smaller side now, but they will reach 4 to 6 inches once they're fully grown. That means they'll reach a size similar to fully grown Congo tetras, rainbow sharks, or denison barbs. But unlike some of those other fish, especially the Congos and the denison barbs, one of the first things I noticed pretty quickly about the rainbow fish is that they don't run away the second you walk up to the tank. They'll actually swim up to the glass and let you get a good look at them, like a dog that greets you at the door. Most of my other fish would need to be bribed with food to do that. But I also had to wonder, is that smart of them? If a large unknown creature comes up to you in the wild, running away is probably the smartest thing you could do. But a good number of these fish are probably tank raised and have never even seen the wild. The Albino Millennium Rainbowfish don't get as large as the Goyders do, they'll max out at about 4 inches. I'm normally not into albino varieties of fish, the only other one I have is the rainbow shark, but I thought these guys looked pretty cool. And the camera just isn't going to do them justice right now like seeing them in person does, but a quick Google search will show you just how much color these guys will have once they're fully grown. As good as they look now, it's only the beginning. These guys are able to be bred in home aquariums as well. A lot of people use strings of yarn and hang them in the aquarium, and the rainbow fish will deposit their eggs in them, so I wonder if all the roots hanging down from the plants above the tank can serve a similar purpose. It would be cool to see some eggs in there, and of course I'd show you all the eggs if that does happen. The problem after that is that the eggs take 7 to 10 days to hatch, and with all these other fish in here, would they really stand a chance at lasting that long without being eaten? And if a couple of them do make it long enough to hatch, what are the chances they dodge the rest of the fish in here until they're big enough not to be food? The best chance for them would be if once I do see eggs, I move the plant with the eggs in its roots to another tank and raise them there. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. And I've been thinking about seeing if I could breed my glow light danios one more time. For those that don't know, after I had the last disaster where I had to completely drain the tank, I actually threw the glow light danios in their own tank for a couple of days, and while I was on vacation, they bred for me. And now when they school together properly, it looks really cool. But they don't do it as often as I would like, and I'm hoping it's because there just aren't enough of them in here right now. It is a big tank and I have less than 20 of them, a small fish. Sometimes they spread out so much I'm not sure if they can really even see each other. I'll notice them schooling more when I'm doing a water change and the water volume is lower. But that'll be a project for the near future. I'm not looking forward to having to actually catch those guys in an aquarium this size. I just wish those guys bred as easily as guppies. There was a time early on when the guppy population in this tank started increasing quickly. I had to give a bunch of them away a couple of times to family. But once I added the Congo tetras in here, that all changed. Since then, I've only seen babies in here one time, and it was only very briefly because the Congo Tetra spotted them too. And I've mentioned it a few times before, but one of the goals I keep in the back of my mind is that one day, if I let the plant cover develop and grow in densely, I'll see babies again. Babies that were lucky enough and smart enough to stay hidden, grab food, and grow up in here, even with all the other fish in here constantly on the lookout for them. To help me get there, I have been slowly adding more plants to the aquarium. Most recently, I either added or trimmed and replanted a couple of the stem plants like the Ludwigia Mini Super Red and the variegated Scarlet Temple. I also added some Bucephalandra Brownie to the log in the center of the tank. Just a few at first so I could see how it does. I had to go with an epiphyte since there's no substrate in the area. There's also another variety of Bucephalandra I planted in a few spots around the tank. I spoke earlier about how the Amano shrimp are one of the main inhabitants I worry about in the aquarium, mainly because they just seem defenseless against anybody who would want to mess with them. Who wouldn't like an easy shrimp dinner? I know I would. And at least the crawfish have claws to defend themselves. The shrimp can't do anything but hit the fish with their antenna. But like a cockroach in the apocalypse, the Amano shrimp are actually one of the few species that have survived everything that has happened in this aquarium. Which makes sense considering people who have allergies to shellfish like shrimp also are allergic to roaches. They just don't know because they've never eaten one. So hopefully the shrimp continue to survive and thrive in the community aquarium. Another thing I need to remain aware of is the fact that the rainbowfish are yet another fast moving fish. So are the denison barbs and the Congo Tetra. And it's easy to see just how fast they really are at feeding time when they dash around grabbing as much food out of the water column as they can. And as I add more fast moving fish to the aquarium, I have to keep in mind that there are also slower moving fish in here too, as well as bottom feeders like the Corridora. And I have to make sure that everybody is able to get their fair share of food and that fast moving fish don't snatch it all up first. And I do that by feeding a variety of food when I feed the aquarium so nobody ever goes hungry. But am I making it harder and harder on myself by adding more of these fish? I know I've had some comments asking for a video with more details on how I handle these issues and my feeding routine. Let me know in the comments if that interests you as well. But anyway, now I've had the rainbowfish, my first rainbowfish ever, for about a week. And I haven't had a single problem out of them. They're hardy, healthy, look amazing, and get along with everybody. And don't be surprised if at some point I end up seeing another variety of rainbowfish I wouldn't mind keeping. But before I get there, there are many other fish that interest me as well that I think may fit in with everybody here. What else would you add? Let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe if you want more content, but that's all for today. See you all next time.